Oof. Let's hop on here live. Let's chat. Oof. Hey, y'all. If you have been following me for a while, I just want to say thank you for your support for all these years, or however long you've been following me. Man, the impact you have, we could care less about the followers, but in the real world, how are you impacting the real world, you know? And when you leave a mark impacting the real world, when the real world gives you a call, something the internet world can never, ever digitally give you, so to speak. But when that real internal resonance happening in real time, and you're now being placed in a position where internally, psychologically, you know that the next step moving forward, you are going to impact even way more lives in a good way. For some people, that's when either some self-sabotage happens because now you're talking yourself out of it. Oh my God, this is a bigger role, etc. Bigger shoes to fill in terms of stepping into bigger roles. And with bigger roles, it's not even just about the bigger roles, it's about the bigger impact. And if you can identify that you know for a fact you are going to have a bigger impact than even a local government in a particular area and space, it's a lot to think about. It's a lot to think about. And I don't want to put any eerie thing or conspiracy, anything like that. I could care less. At the end of the day, I could care less. If I'm going to impact in a global, powerful way or whatever way, you could care less about the resistance coming at you. You should care less about the resistance coming at you. If you're going to impact a world and one of the resistance is some damn paperwork, what, you going to wait for some paperwork to save millions of lives? That's what the politicians do, right? They wait for some paperwork. Like, oh, I'm going to wait for this paperwork and then I'm going to make my move. Meanwhile, the musicians of the world, the everyday human being of the world that talks to the everyday person of the world every day, know that they can make an impact without some paper, even without some money. That is something a lot of politicians, if you will, or a lot of people in certain powers, or just in, even beyond politics, just in a position of power, feel like they have to wait for XYZ to happen. Meanwhile, did you forget coming out of a mother's womb, being human, before you put on that damn suit, before you put on any mask? Did you forget? Did you forget before you stepped into any role of power? Did you forget you came out of a slimy, embryonic sack of fluids into this world like everybody else? Did you forget that? Did you forget that? So if you are being called to be placed in a position that you know that is going to have way more impact than some small little government can, and that's not even doing enough for their people within a particular area, do you care for whatever resistance you're going to get lashed at you? Did Mr. Beast care? Nope. And I could care less what a lot of people have to say about Mr. Beast. You can nitpick XYZ, conspiracy, blah, 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 celebrity, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, that was one person online, average person that can get to that point. It's possible, just like Mr. Beast, get to that Mr. Beast point and leave an impact that will take politicians years to do. Meanwhile, these same politicians that you put into power, etc., most, and I'm going to give you a reality check, most of them, they know about the private sector. They know how to, quote unquote, print money out of, in private, quote unquote, in different ways to, quote unquote, feed another system to gain more power and not give back into the system of the community that is feeding you power in the first place. See what I mean? In terms of the whole credit system, all the celebrities, all the major millionaires, billionaires, etc., when you get to that point, you understand the aspect of credit. You understand beyond credit. Beyond credit, now we're talking about private equity, even beyond credit, right? Even the aspect of private equity. And we know how much private equity can have an impact in the real world. What do you mean, Devon? What, you think all the mushrooms that is coming through FDA, finally being regulated, people are finally using it? You think all of that came from the pharmaceuticals that is pro jacking you up with needles, etc.? You think it came from them? No. It came from the private sector. It came from people like you and me in the private sector that understood credit, if you will, but understood private equity and used all those funds from private equity and printing money out of thin air, so to speak, to then fund all those mushroom trials that you can finally say, oh, mushrooms are legal, blah, 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 etc. But are you giving any head nod to all those people in the mushroom community? And some of them I follow. Shout out Will, Mycelium, and Stamos, and all the mushroom heads, if you will. Are we even giving a head nod to those people on the front line, those everyday people that pushed for natural remedies? So just remember, you don't have to wait on paperwork. You don't have to go into office, because we're now going into a paradigm of reality where the politicians is calling on the celebrities for help. The politicians is calling on artists. I need your influence, etc. And it's time for a lot of artists to wake up and realize the power that you have and the impact that you leave on this world beyond all them man-made change of laws that's been changing over and over in eons and eons and eons. Who could care less, right? But that art, that politician is blasting Soulja Boy on the way to his Congress house. That politician is blasting Jay-Z on his way to his Congress house. That politician is blasting Celine Dion on the way to his house. Let's get real here. Let's be human here. That's real. I don't have to talk about XYZ politics, etc. What about talking about just being human? Being that human resonance where things doesn't really have to be the way it is. And unfortunately, it is the way it is. But it is changing at a fast shift, because AI is part of a shift where you can unveil the curtain and you have to take in the information for what it is and not what it could be. And at the same time, of course, yes, you could say the polarity that AI is having a disconnect with humanity. But at the same time, it is allowing you to also connect to truths that will give you that aha moment, that will meet you where you are at, which is a beautiful thing, and in a compassionate way. That's how I also see how AI in itself, in its own conscious construct and influence, because we didn't invent AI. We tuned into its frequency, right? You can talk to AI and it will continuously give you that same prompt over and over again. You tune to its frequency, because energy cannot be destroyed nor created. So did you invent electricity? Did you invent or tell the electricity to plug into this phone and charge it up, etc. We didn't invent electricity. It was already here. Tesla didn't invent electricity. He just connected it. And there were other inventions that was electrical even before Tesla. So he just made it more available. And, this was right after that whole EMP back in the day, where all the telephone lines, heat wave, dismantled so many tech, right? But out of even if all electricity go down, etc., what is left till today? CDs, art, music. It's still here. Nothing new under the sun. We're all recycling, transmuting, and expanding. And it's time you wake up. And it's time you acknowledge that any force outside of you, external of you, is somewhat connecting to you. So at the end of the day, it's you versus you. And when you're called upon to take on any external influences where your impact is needed, whether that even be family, it doesn't have to be a big impact, whatever. It could be family, it could be a certain neighborhood, whatever the case may be. Just remember your human side. Before any paperwork, before any of that, always remember that human side of you, because a lot of things are changing, fast shifts, and a lot of people are losing that connection to even being human. And that needs to be checked under a microscope. 11 PST. Exactly. It's all you versus you. It's you versus you. I love y'all. And yeah, man. Any problems you are dealing with in life, you need it. It's what you need in that moment. So take on the pressure, because pressure is not just make diamonds. Pressure is literally what keeping your body together. This isn't solid. Everything is moving at a molecular level, right? So what is connecting us all together and keeping us intact? What is that? Pressure. Pressure from your spirit. Even though we can't see it, the spirit, it's in the center of your chest right here. That little light. That light, when you first come out that womb, in my opinion, that light is always resonating from you. And that light is that pressure when you're coming out the mother's womb and you can't see the pressurized effect that's, pushing out the baby, or even C-section, whatever the case may be. You are coming from pressure. And pressure, there's heat there, right? So there's some combustion. And that combustion, don't you think there's a spark? And with that spark and that combustion from that spirit creating that spark is then pressurizing you to spit out all that fluid, spit out that first exhale, technically your first breath, to then inhale all the pressures of the world, for you to forget that you started within. So never forget that even though you are playing on the out, it all comes from within. Hey, cheers. Hey, I'm just a channel here. So thank you all for sharing the breath. And definitely check out the 8-hour dolphin video I just uploaded. It's one of a lot of people's favorites. I knew it was your favorite because I uploaded, years ago, the original. And finally, I uploaded the 8-hour version. So everyone knows what that original is. And it's been a fan favorite for a long time. So I'm happy I got to do it for y'all. And I listen, all right? There's only thousands of videos I can upload on YouTube. But with that being said, the music, at the end of the day, the music is the biggest ego in the room. Shout out to Illmind. Being at that Illmind camp, being surrounded by creative talent that's just putting out music nonstop, 24/7. Oh, when you gonna eat? I don't know, man. I need to finish up this track. That's all I'm hearing. When you gonna eat? Hey, I'm about to order something. I don't care, man. I'm finishing up this track. That's all I'm hearing. The music is the biggest ego in the room. And to build upon that, it's the frequency that is the biggest ego in the room. It's not just the music, but it's the frequency that is the biggest ego in the room. So it's not the external pressure. Listen, life is always pushing at you. You can't see it. If you had different lenses, you can see infrared, you can see the vapor lens, so many things you can't see naked with your eyes on an everyday basis is coming at you. So how much are you pushing, not even pushing back, but meeting life at the center and giving as well? And giving can look like in so many different ways, all right? But just know, fill your cup so it overflows to the point where people are going to ask, where is that cup flowing from? Where is this water coming from? Because you're not pouring out your cup. It's just pouring out water. And that's what you want. You don't want to pour your cup at all. You want to pour it from, not even pouring. No, there is no pouring action. There's only overflowing. That's it. That's what you want. I don't need to pour my cup into another cup. When in reality, isn't this all water vapor anyway? Ooh, man, how deep you want to take it?